Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for October 2025. You have this cat spirit says claim your independence. You have this coyote spirit says trust in divine detours. And you being a Taurus, and also especially next month when Uranus goes back into your sign. Uranus in your sign is basically divine detours, right? Not really a bad thing. Usually, and sometimes, Taurus kind of goes Uranus kind of goes both ways. It can be positive or negative, really. Not really necessarily negative. I don't think Uranus causes anything bad to happen usually. Uranus is just a shake-up in our lives, and it's the universe trying to get us to shake things up or mix things up or do something different. But this reading looks good so far. You have the sun, so I would say that if there are any divine detours that these are probably going to be happy things that make you happy. This girl is smiling on this card as well, so you do have a lot of happiness going on in this reading. I'm pretty sure that you had a message like this with me, maybe a couple weeks ago about needing to trust divine detours, because I told you the story about how, I was driving home the other night. I was at a group thing, and I was supposed to go home. I was tired. I'm a Pisces. I just want to go home. And it was late at night, and, people wanted to talk. So I kind of stayed, and I was like, okay, I'll stick around for a little while longer. And when I was driving home, I pulled up on an accident that just happened. And the cops were pulling up basically as I was getting there. And so, it's one of those things where it's I didn't want to stay, but I was like, okay, I'll stay. And, again, those are the reason I'm telling you this is because those are the detours that you should be trusting, your gut instincts, feeling okay, maybe I'll stick around, or, maybe I'm meant to be doing this or that or the other thing. And I would really just trust your gut. You have the King of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Three of Wands here in the area of your current general energies. King of Swords, of course, is knowledge and wisdom. I think right now that it's really important for Taurus to be decisive, and that's more the word that I'm getting off of the King of Swords, is that, sticking to your decisions is going to be very important for you this month for some reason. And I don't know. I can't really explain it, just kind of what I feel, speaking of my gut, right, off the King of Swords. It's if you make a choice, there's probably a good reason for it. And it's sometimes I think when we go back and forth in between something, it's really we know what to do, number one. It's we know that we either shouldn't do something or we should, commit to something. But I feel like that back and forth position where we're trying to make a decision that we can't make, it's almost like that is your gut saying the answer is no, right? It's I remember when I was a kid, my parents, if I couldn't make up my mind on something, my parents would be okay, then the answer is no, because you can't make up your mind, which means you don't really want XYZ or you don't want to do this, right? And I don't know why this is so important, but it is popping into my head. You have the Eight of Swords. My challenge to Taurus for the next 20 years is to eliminate any limiting situations in your life that you possibly can. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight, and it's also not going to take 20 years, right? We always will encounter new situations that maybe put us into a limiting situation. There are going to be things that you can correct right now, literally, probably today if you chose to. And, I would be looking at things that have been holding you back and say, how can I, exceed my own expectations? I always think of that for Taurus, and I always think that's would be a really good energy for Taurus to work from, mostly because you can, right? So there's a good energy, I think, for Taurus to kind of exceed or remove yourself from something that has been holding you back. Every reading I've been doing for you for the past couple of years talks about your story, the story you tell yourself, and changing that story. Again, I believe this is Uranus and Taurus. Again, you're getting this one little hug and a kiss goodbye from Uranus in November when it retrogrades back into your sign for a little while. And, I really feel it's trying to say, hey, there are things that you've always believed or things that have always held you back, and now is the time to change whatever those things are. And, if you do that, I think you'll be happy you did. You have the Three of Wands. This is where the exceeding your expectations comes in. Three of Wands is a good card. I mean, it can be a card of your ships coming in and, receiving something. I do feel that for some of you have the sun right next to it. But the Three of Wands is a card of expansion. It wants us to go bigger. It wants us to get on those boats and go on an adventure and go places we've never done before, or, go do things we've never done before. You also have the world right here, and the world can represent getting out into the world and experiencing the world, experiencing things you've never experienced before. And so this first row, I feel, is encouraging you to do those things, right? With the King of Swords, you have the Three of Pentacles, which you have twice here. It seems to me like we're in this time of the mentor. I say King of Swords is the card of the mentor. Everybody gets the freaking King of Swords nowadays. And Three of Pentacles is teamwork. So it seems to me like we all need a mentor right now, someone to look up to, someone to use as a, kind of like as a North Star, if that makes sense. I don't even think we have to know these people. I feel these can be just like people that we look up to, right? There could be dead people that you read their books, or, you watch their videos on YouTube or whatever. And I feel like kind of adding these people to your tribe, even if it's not physically, even if it's just mentally, or you learn from them, or you kind of model them in some way, I feel that could be very, very good for you, Taurus. Yes, with the Eight of Swords, you show up here with the Hierophant. So whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading, which is great. But you are showing up on the Eight of Swords. So setting yourself free is going to be important. The thing about the Eight of Swords and the Hierophant is they both represent outside the box thinking. The Eight of Swords, she's only seeing one way of fixing her situation when there are many. And the Hierophant is sitting on his box right here. So, this is his belief system. He's sharing his beliefs with these two people. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing, of course. But at the same time, he might be believing outdated beliefs. Even the King of Swords, is history. It just is a thing, it's kind of like he operates from knowledge and wisdom, which is good, but, sometimes things have to change. And I kind of get that energy here with the Eight of Swords and the Hierophant in your reading. With the Three of Wands, you have the Star card, really good. Whenever we have the Sun and the Star together, it is very positive. So definitely could be some like hope coming in for you. Both are very hopeful energies. And, I said at the beginning of the reading, there's like a happy energy here in your reading. So I feel there could be a lot of hope and happiness. We're also in an excellent time of healing. So anything you can do to, rest, relax, recover, heal, take care of yourself. If I were an Earth sign, I would be taking extra good care of myself right now. Mostly South Node in Virgo, plus, we just had that eclipse in Virgo. Even though you aren't a Virgo, it doesn't matter. You're an Earth sign. So I would be doing like extra stuff to, whatever. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this anxiety card. It says it says anxiety, avoidance, perceived threat. You have this losing teeth card. It says self-image, fear of loss, and life changes. I feel the word, and sorry, let me just fix this real quick. There we go. I feel the key word here is self-image, how you see yourself. Like we were saying, the story that you tell yourself is going to be very important. I feel that you should look at what your life has been maybe for the last 20 years, and then think about what you want your next 20 years to be. Again, the reason I'm saying this is because of Pluto and Aquarius, and also Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will only be in Gemini until 2033, and I know that's not 20 years away. I can do math, kind of, although I did fail a million times. How I graduated high school, I have no clue. But what I would say here is, again, pretty much for the next 20 years, this is going to be the main thing that you should be working on is kind of escaping that story, or kind of changing that story. It's not like there's anything to escape. I don't want this to sound like a bad thing, because it's going to be an improvement, right? But it's like you have to look at the story that you are living and decide what story you want to live, and don't be afraid of changing that story. You have the Strength card, the World, and the Sun card. The Strength card is about patience, of course, but also self-image. This lion is her inner voice or her inner critic, but she is the one that is in control of the lion's mouth. So she is the one that is in control of the words that she uses against herself. And this is something that she has to do every day. I always like to bring that up with the Strength card, because I think it's something that no one says. It's like even the most confident people in the world, it's like, yeah, they might be very confident, but they still have those doubts, fears, anxieties, all those things. They're no different than you. They just have a way of controlling it, or telling it to be quiet, that inner voice. And, I think we really only have to be like 51% to the positive side of things to really make a difference in our lives. I don't feel we have to be perfect or anything like that. And the Strength card is really saying that. Now, you have really, if we get the Empress in this reading, that to me would be a glow up. To me, a glow up in a reading is Sun, Star, Empress, right? To say that it's a glow up reading. But, these are cards of attention, the Sun, the Star, and the Strength card. She is putting on a display of strength. So she is showing the world, you have the world here, how strong she is. Like, people are seeing her do this. I always say, who in their right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? And the answer is nobody. So, again, some of you could be doing things that are going to be a display of strength, that are going to get you attention, and that will be a good thing. And again, you have a lot of attention here. You also have the Three of Pentacles twice. He is getting attention for work that he has done. You have the World. It's kind of funny because I feel like there's, I said Wheel of Fortune on this card, by the way, and you might be wondering, why did you say Wheel of Fortune? And the reason is because what I wanted to say with this card is that I'm almost getting that Wheel of Fortune energy, where it's like saying there are things that have repeated in your life, which is true for everyone, but, I feel like there are specific stories that have repeated. For some of you, I feel it has to do with people. We have a lot of people kind of cards here, Three of Pentacles twice, Five of Wands. I feel some of you have maybe had conflicts with people, for example, that even though they've been with different people, maybe the conflict is almost the same. Like, let's say you always have a problem with someone that you work with. It's like maybe that has happened multiple times in your life. And, I wanted to talk about the Wheel of Fortune on this card because it's almost like that's the energy I'm getting off of the card in some ways. It's like saying there are certain cycles that you can break. And, I feel that part of that has to maybe do with your story, or, needing to look at the situations that you end up in, and needing to say to yourself, what do I not see that gets me into these situations, or how can I avoid it in the first place? I feel that would be very helpful. The World can also be your place in the world. I don't normally say that, but you have so many cards here that would really represent you kind of like taking your place in the world, and how the world sees you, Taurus. You show up right here. And I think that would be a great thing for you to think about this month of October, and probably, moving forward as well, with Uranus being retrograding into Taurus next month. So this could be a big theme for you as well that you're going to be thinking about. You have the Sun. The Sun makes the whole entire reading more positive. I know, it's kind of interesting. Personally, on a personal level, I feel for people, just in general, the end of the year is good. I think globally, the end of the year is very sketchy, like, until March, basically, of next year. I mean, we're in a time of chaos until basically 2033, until Uranus leaves Gemini. And, really kind of peaks in 2028, somewhere around there. But I think that the Sun has come up for a lot of people, which is interesting. So, October could be a happy month. It could be a month where people are choosing to focus on optimism, things being better, you could be choosing to do more fun things in October. I feel all that would be great for you as well. Of course, it'll improve your life. The Sun is about ease. This baby here, child, whatever you want to call it, is carrying this big banner, and he's carrying it easily. So the Sun always reminds me that we should be looking at how to make our life easier, and that is the main theme of your reading for sure. With the Strength card, you have the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands is about having boundaries, and with the Strength card, it would be having boundaries with yourself, like saying, I'm not going to speak negatively about myself anymore. I'm not going to, put myself in situations that I am settling for, and, all those other things. So I really feel this is about deciding the boundaries that you're going to put up for yourself, especially if you're doing things that you don't want to do. This could be about, it's like me, like I always give the example, like life isn't perfect. Sometimes we have jobs that we don't want, right? But it's like we have no other choice in the moment. But the Nine of Wands could be you deciding, I don't want this job anymore. And you could, start looking for something else. So it's about starting the process here, in this reading at least. And I feel like that's what you could be doing. With the World card, you have the Ace of Cups. Definitely could be love coming in for you. We go King of Swords down to this Page of Cups. I feel like you had the King of Swords in relation to love in one of your last readings. So the King of Swords can be a more mature person, someone who's older than you. And if you want love, definitely could be love coming in for you. The World, of course, would say you have to be seen. People have to see you with their eyeballs, believe it or not, to know that you exist. So if you want love, get out of the house. here you go. With the Sun, you have the Six of Swords. Like I said, improvements. Really, every once in a while I do these readings and like something surprises me. The Sun is one of those things. Like everybody has had the Sun, and which is I didn't really expect in these readings. I also, it's not like October is a bad month at all, but I just didn't expect so much improvement, right? Like where people seem to be making improvements or whatever. I think I said this a couple months ago where, it's like one of those things where, we can't stay in a anxious state for too long. It's almost like society has been in this heightened state, and it's not like things are necessarily getting so good in the world. I just think, I'm wondering if society is kind of coming down naturally. And I don't know, is that a bad thing? I would say no, maybe, because people are creating improvements and people are choosing to create improvements, which I think is a good thing, and you could be kind of focused on that. Next in the area, messages from your future self. Here you go. You have this night sky card that says hope and guidance. We talked about hope with the star and the sun. You have the century plant that says looking upwards. Yes, you have the Three of Pentacles, which the people on the Three of Pentacles could be looking up at something, right? So kind of like another card of needing an example in your life. You have the Three of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, and the Page of Cups. Three of Pentacles says, teamwork makes the dream work, but I'm wondering, these people are not looking necessarily at the work that's been done. And, the guy that did the work is kind of looking over to these two people here. And so I'm wondering if you need an example, with that King of Swords as well. King of Swords, like I said, is the mentor, but it's like sometimes we just need to see that something is possible. And so I almost feel that in this row, your future self is saying like, hey, your dreams are possible. Maybe you just need to go find an example that it is possible. Like if someone's done it, you can. The star literally says that, by the way. The star, she's pouring this water onto the land, and this water comes from the pool of universal consciousness, and the water flowing out into the world represents what's possible for one person is possible for everyone. But maybe the reading itself is saying you need to make something possible, or you need to see that something is possible. So going and looking for an example is probably going to be a really good idea for you, Taurus. You have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with. Again, we just had that eclipse in Virgo. Doesn't really surprise me that you would be letting go of something, releasing something. Probably a good thing here, Taurus, because you're probably letting go of part of your old story. He's making the same symbol right here that the Hierophant is making, and it represents a blessing in disguise. So a lot of you could be experiencing a blessing, or you could be doing something in your life that is a blessing, or that brings a blessing into your life. And I kind of feel that with the Ten of Swords, so that's good. You have the Page of Cups. Could be a little bit of love here. I will say that this month seems to be very personal, is how I would describe it. Most of the readings have been like people focusing on themselves. We do kind of have a lot of retrograde energy. Pluto retrograde, although it's only going to retrograde till the middle of the month. Saturn, Neptune. We're going to have Mercury go retrograde next month. Uranus go retrograde next month. So, whenever we have a bunch of retrogrades, that is internal. That is very internal, right? But still, even with all that introspective energy, which normally we really think of Mercury retrograde as, more introspective. The other planets aren't necessarily the same, but still, I think a lot of people could be more introspective, but, that could also be, why love is coming in, Taurus. It's like, sometimes I think when we just stop thinking about love, then it shows up. It's like I used to read for people. When I used to read for people, a common question that used to come up all the time is people would say, I just went through this breakup and I'm making all this money. I'm like, yes. Why do you think that is? You're going through a breakup, so you're more focused on that. You're not focused on your money. So of course money is going to flow in, right? And I kind of feel like something similar is happening for you here. It's like because maybe you're focused on yourself, that maybe that's exactly the thing that's bringing love in, right? With the Three of Pentacles, yes, you have the Ten of Cups. Again, people seem to be very supportive right now. Family could be very supportive for you here. I'm also getting something like if you're thinking about starting a business with like a person, I do feel it would actually be a good idea. Especially if you're working together with like a friend or something like that. Like usually, I tell people to be careful in those situations, but I don't know. I feel something here about some of you wanting to work with a friend or a person that you know, and it could work out very, very well. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Hermit. Yeah, the Hermit, again, we just had that eclipse in Virgo, so, Hermit energy is very common right now. It's not really surprising to me in these readings. I think we've all been through, collective dark night of the soul. Now we're all kind of like coming out. As I've been saying for years now, it's like we have to choose what world we live in right now. And, we can choose. And so I feel like the Hermit next to the World right here is saying that. With the Page of Cups, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. And again, that's the other thing is you could be, like I just said, you could be very focused on work. And because you're focused on work, that could be the thing that is bringing love into your life because you're not focusing on it. So there you go. Eight of Pentacles is also great for money. So a lot of you could be doing things to work on your finances. I feel like Taurus needs more focus financially. And also it's very obvious to me, just based off the fact that you had Uranus and Taurus for a long time, that Taurus, I always say to you that you are the bull in the bullpen. A lot of, people who speak astrologically about Taurus will say that Taurus is a bull in a china shop, which is not true. Taurus is a bull in a bullpen. It's like when a Taurus is born, their job is to break free from the karmic story of their family, more or less. That's Chris's crappy astrology here. That's not like completely accurate. But, a lot of you, I feel, are, kind of needing to break out of the bullpen. It's like you are needing to focus on one thing in work or business that will move you forward. And even if you're retired, you could be working, you can still work on something. You can still do something to improve your financial situation. And, a lot of you, I feel, are maybe doing that. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this mystery card and this take a breath card. Yeah, I feel that definitely healing would be a good thing to do with the star card, resting, relaxing, recovering, all that other stuff. We are in a pretty good time of mystery. Again, we have Pluto retrograde until the middle of October. And so Pluto retrograde is all about getting to the bottom of something, a mystery in your life. And it could be any mystery, basically. You could be the mystery. And so I would take the first 2 weeks of this month to get to the bottom of something that you're trying to get answers on. Like, do your research, go talk to smart people, go do whatever you can, because it's a good time to do it. You have the Five of Wands, Four of Swords, and the Magician. Five of Wands can represent conflict or competition, but in the good stuff, this could be you standing above the competition. I feel this is saying, like, don't be afraid of doing the things that will make you stand above the competition. It's like, I don't really know how to say what I want to say here, Taurus. But it's like, I teach YouTube on the weekends, right? And it's like, I know there are people that I teach that I know they are holding back. It's like sometimes I think people are afraid of, being animated on camera or sharing their opinions or whatever. And it's like, that's exactly what would make them stand out. But it's like they're holding back. They're afraid to do those things. And they're not, that's the thing that would make the difference, right? And that's the energy I feel on the Five of Wands. It's like there's something that would make a difference or make the difference between success and failure in your life. And, I feel like you know what that is if you have a business or a career or, this could even be in love or whatever. And I feel it's encouraging you. It's almost like the Five of Wands is maybe encouraging you to express yourself more, put yourself out there more, take bigger risks. You have the Four Swords, more resting, relaxing, recovering. Yeah, if you need a break, take a break, right? We have all these retrogrades going on. We have Neptune retrograde as well. Neptune retrograde is weird, and Neptune will retrograde into Pisces in the middle of October as well. And so it's retrograding right now in Aries. Neptune in Pisces is kind of weird because it's like if we're not inspired to do something, we probably shouldn't do it. And but the trick with Neptune retrograde is that we are looking for inspiration, but we have to get started to get the inspiration in the first place. So it's kind of like a little bit of a paradox, right? It's like you shouldn't do something if you're not inspired, but to get inspired, you have to do something. And, I don't know, just like a little bit of a challenge that I think we're all kind of dealing with. You have the Magician. Magician is about manifestation. It's about you as well, you reinventing yourself. We're in a time of reinvention, so I feel a lot of people are kind of just changing. I always pull the card he's pointing to. We're going to say it's this bottom one here. You have this, here you go. You have this scarab beetle. It says magic works through you. Yes, I think that you need to believe that you are magical and that good things can happen and that you can, reach the stars with that star card here in that. With the Five of Wands, you have the Six of Wands. You could be winning a competition or rising above the competition. Six of Wands is literally an accomplishment, an achievement, or rising above the competition. So that looks good. With the Four of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles, like sometimes I feel it can be waiting for news. We normally look at Knights as the kind of messengers, communicators in the tarot, but the Page of Pentacles can also be communication. I feel that some of you have been like, it's almost like you're hoping or praying for the universe to tell you what to do, or it's like you're hoping something will happen. Here, I wish I could describe that as well. Some of you, I feel, it's like, sometimes you, like in a relationship, I'm not saying that this is what's going on here. I'm just saying, right, that, sometimes you're in a relationship and you do things hoping the person will break up with you so you don't have to do it. It's like, that's the best way I can describe this energy. But what I would say is whatever that is in your life, I don't even think it's a relationship. I'm just using that as an example. Like if you're doing things hoping that something will happen, it's probably not going to happen. So it's like, I think you have to be the one, some of you, even though this is coming up in the good stuff, I think it's coming up in the good stuff because it'll be a good thing. It's like saying you have to be the one to do something. And it's like the other side, if there is another side, isn't going to do it for you. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense to someone. With the Magician, you have the Emperor here. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor for sure if you're looking for love. We are also in a time where we kind of like all have to take the lead and we have to, make choices, right? So just like I said, it's like if you're hoping that something is like someone's going to do something or something's going to happen, it's like you are the one that is going to have to make it happen. You have this Candle card. It says you will be shown the way. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to eat my words in this reading. Like I said, it's like you're not going to be shown the way with that Four of Swords, but maybe you are. Maybe you finally are getting that answer on what to do next. I still think you're going to have to be the one to do it. You have this Ear card. It says good news. Yes, Page of Pentacles and the good stuff can definitely be good news or receiving good news. You have this Knot card. It says unsuccessful plans, bull in the bullpen, right? It's like, I don't really think this is unsuccessful plans. I think it's saying how you've been doing things is keeping you stuck. You need to flip that bullpen over your back. It's like if a bull was in a bullpen that wasn't really in the ground, it could stick its horns through the slats, right? And it could flip it over. So, I feel that's almost what needs to happen. That is kind of like the bull in the china shop part of Taurus, is that you really need to flip that pen over your back, right? Whatever limitations you've been experiencing, and you've probably been experiencing the same things over and over and over again. You have this eagle. It says triumph over obstacles. There you go. So this could be the time of your life where you finally, whatever, we're switching, where you finally kind of like rise above the obstacles or the challenges. You have this gavel. It says involvement with the law. Yeah, whenever we get close to Mercury retrograde, even though again it's in November, and I would still be careful of like speeding, doing all that stuff. I would make sure you're not, right? But this looks pretty good here, Taurus. I like where this is going for sure. So thank you for being here. I forgot to say, make sure to leave a like and drop a comment down below. It really helps me out. And enjoy your month.